Embracing the unknown is mandatory when it comes to your healing journey. If you are not committed, you will not be consistent. Welcome and welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it does not apply, it's not for you. You don't have to force it, so let it fly. But most importantly, grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss the responsibilities that come with walking by faith and not by sight, as well as what to expect when embracing the unknown. You also are going to get recommendations, reminders, disclaimers, and what to be aware of. Starting off with the introduction that is going to lead us into the disclaimers. If you do not start to invest into yourself when it's time for you to heal and when it's time for you to elevate, you are the only person who is going to suffer. You're going to start doubting yourself. You're going to struggle with insecurities, and you're going to feel stuck and stagnant. This is why a lot of people suffer from PTSD. This is why a lot of people are anxious. This is why a lot of people are depressed. These people, and you included, have not taken the time to self-reflect, have not taken the time to heal, have not taken the time to recover. Grieving is not a one-size-fits-all, which means it can last months, years, weeks, and days. You don't know how long you're going to be in your isolation period until it's time for you to overcome it and move forward. And during your isolation period, there are certain things that you're supposed to be learning and unlearning. If you're new here, you need to watch all the other videos talking about this. I have a video talking about isolation as well as playlists, so you're caught up because we're now just going to move forward. But you need to keep that in mind. There's a purpose, there's a reason, and there's a season. You have to learn a lesson. The second thing you need to be aware of is that because elevation is non-negotiable, you have to be okay with outgrowing certain mindsets, certain behaviors, certain ideologies, certain philosophies, certain things that are once familiar with you, such as people, places, and things. If it is not compatible with your highest and greatest good, it cannot go with you. So the longer you suffer with your attachment issues and your abandonment issues, the longer you are going to feel like you can't move forward. The longer you're going to stay still, the longer you're not going to be able to get yourself out of this circumstance. You have to realize we have a past. We made certain choices in our past based off of the knowledge and the resources and the tools that we had access to. Whether it was right, whether it was wrong, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether we learned it from ourselves, TV, social media, friends, peers, etc. At a certain point in your life, especially when it comes to your elevation, you will then become responsible for your actions. Nobody asks to physically be born. Spiritually and eternally, if you know, you know. That's a different topic for a different video. But it's like, at a certain point, you can't blame how you were raised. Because at the end of the day, what do you do now? There's a cause and the effect. So yes, you grew up, let's just say, in dysfunction. If you don't want to continue that reality, which you don't have to because it's a choice, then you have to become responsible and take action. Do you want to do that? Do you think it's fair? No, but over here, we're not here to make excuses and we're not going to complain. And what has helped me along my healing journey was to boss up, was to step up. Yes, it's a huge responsibility. Yes, it's a heavy assignment. So I don't have to rush myself. I don't have to feel embarrassed or ashamed, and I don't have to compare myself. But I have to be practical. I have to be real. My life is not going to change unless I make certain changes, and if I want to make certain changes. So that's the third or fourth thing. I lost count where I'm at. If you don't want to make the changes, you're not going to make the changes. But you're watching this video, you want to make the changes. You have to be okay with change. You may be nervous, you may be unsure, you may lack confidence in the beginning because it's unfamiliar. You're not used to doing things differently. You may not have all the resources and the tools and the education. Maybe you weren't taught and shown. But as you're watching these videos, as you're receiving downloads, as you're choosing want to do better, you will get the instructions. You will get the tools you need. You will get the direction. but you have to be in alignment in order to receive certain things. The more you go against the time for you to move forward and who you got to cut off or who you have to become, the more you're going to become bitter and miserable and have resentment towards yourself and your past for things that were either in your control or that were not. This doesn't invalidate the trauma that we went through, because everybody, including myself, has a sad story to tell, but you're not going to be able to tell it if you're too worried about what happened. And of course, I'm speaking from experience. It takes time, boys and girls. It takes time. It takes years. It takes months. It requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot of faith. It requires a lot of isolation. It requires a lot of solitude. It requires a lot of unlearning and learning. My content is not for the weak. Like, you cannot be weak-minded when you're walking into the unknown. You cannot be weak-minded. You can't be double-minded. You can't be confused. You have to learn how to become confident. You have to learn how to trust yourself when doing things that you've never done before. And that's going to be a part of the recommendations. Stop being hard on yourself. If you're breaking generational curses from poverty, that's a big responsibility. Everybody is not out here becoming multimillionaires or having 6 figures or even 7 figures, if we're being completely honest. There is a good population in the world that has that, but that's not everybody's reality. You can't compare your life to other people. So yes, you may see people have 6 figures or 7 figures or be multimillionaires and trillionaires and gazillionaires and billionaires, but if you're not doing what you need to do, that's them. So that's the first recommendation. I need you to ask yourself, why are you being so hard on yourself? And let me know in the comment section. Let me know on the notes. Write down, why am I being so hard on myself? In the comment section on your notes. Say it out loud. Why are you being so hard on yourself? Do you not realize what you've gone through? Do you not realize that it affects you? Do you not realize that trauma changes who you are and how you look at life? And if you've never had friends and family support, God, ancestors, universe, if you've never seen help professionally from a psychiatrist, a therapist, a guidance counselor, a naturopathic physician, whatever, do you realize that that's a lot to deal with? So I need you to figure out why you're being so hard on yourself and what can you do to stop being hard on yourself. That's going to be part of the first recommendation. Why are you so hard on yourself and what can you do to work towards that? The second thing I need you to do is give yourself the grace. All right? Slow your roll. Like I said, healing for most people requires their entire life. Why? Because when you're evolving and you're growing, it's consistently. But in order for something to be consistent, you see how I'm moving my hands? It has to be in motion. It has to be repetitively. Healing, leveling up, becoming the best version of yourself takes days, weeks, months, seconds, hours, years. It's all in alignment. Your past, present, and future, it's already happening. You have to get there when you need to get there. You don't have to rush. You can't compare yourself. You could look at people for inspiration and consider them to be admirable, but it's up to you. Especially if you don't have everything figured out, especially if this is your first time doing this. You have to realize where it is that you're coming from, where you are, and where you're trying to get with what you have. We can't make excuses. Of course, it's not fair. Nobody wants to be born into poverty. Nobody wants to lose their job. Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to be betrayed. Nobody wants to be sabotaged. Nobody wants to be hurt and harmed. Nobody wants to be touched on. Nobody wants to deal with whatever it is, but it happens. And it's like, what do we do about it? And of course, when you are alone or you feel lonely, not alone, when you are lonely, when you're unaware, when you don't have faith, when you're not confident in yourself, you think the whole world is against you. This doesn't mean that certain people and places and things don't do certain things, but it's like you don't even have to worry about that once you figure out who you are and what it is that you experience and what you want. Because when you are intentional, you are specific, you know what's for you, you know what to avoid, you know what to pay attention to, and you know what you need to do. So the third recommendation is just learning to be confident. The more you sit in your isolation period, the more you sit with yourself, the more it becomes easier. You have to look at it like, if your goal, let's just say, is to physically become fit, to physically become healthier, the more you exercise, the more months, the more weeks, the more hours you take to learn certain techniques, the more times you go to Pilates or yoga, the more you stretch, the more you walk, the more you run, you'll get better at it. You have to give yourself the same amount of patience and grace to perfect your craft. There's no limitation to abundance. So just because you do something for a day, you did it for that day. If you want to become better at it and you want to maintain it and you want the motion that we were talking about, you have to do it for a long time. You have to take a lot of energy, a lot of effort. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to change. So if you were unhealthy in your past and all you ate was food that wasn't healthy for you, that means you have to change what you used to eat. That means you have to change what you used to do to exercise. That means you have to start implementing certain things. That means you have to start surrounding yourself with people and places and things, let's just say, who work out or who exercise. You may have to get a gym membership. You may have to get a Apple Watch or watch and start walking on miles. You may have to get involved in yoga or Pilates. You have to realize that if that's not something you're excited about and that's going to be the fourth recommendation, you can't rush the process. So the fourth thing is to get excited. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a business owner, you want to be a content creator, you want to be in healthy relationships, you should be excited. Now, of course, when you've gone through a significant amount of trauma, or maybe you just were lost in general, it's going to take time for you to be excited. But I'm speaking from experience, and I've had one of my mentors tell me that you need to be excited. You need to have fun. Like, if you don't appreciate or you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's going to seem like a job. It's going to seem like, oh, I have to do this again. Oh, I have to heal again. Oh, I have to talk about my trauma. Oh, I got to talk about my past. Oh, I got to work out. Oh, I got to... If that's what you want, you should be excited. And before I end off the video, I would just want to say this. When you've gone through a significant amount of trauma and you once were excited, because there are going to be times where you start something and you get excited and then something happens to you. Don't allow that moment to affect the rest of your reality. So like, yes, trauma changes us, but speaking from experience, what has helped me along my healing journey was to take a step back, or not even take a step back, but take a moment to myself. You can take a step back, either or, but take a moment to myself, because I didn't go backwards. That's why I said that. But take a moment to myself and just to realize, okay, what did I go through within a certain amount of time? So whether it's 5 months, 6 months, or a year, what did I have to learn? What did I have to unlearn? What resources did I have? Like, when I was able to reflect and realize where I was and where I am right now, I was able to realize, okay, if I don't feel like doing something today, I don't have to overwork myself. I don't have to feel overwhelmed. Let me be practical about what I'm doing. And that comes with consistency. Once you have the time management, once you realize, okay, if I work 7 days a week or 6 days a week, and I only have, let's just say, 48 hours to do what I need to do to work towards my goal, let me schedule this. You have to make time for the things that you want if you don't have the freedom. If you don't have all the resources and you don't have all the tools and you don't have the support, you have to be willing to create those things. And that's why it seems like it's so much harder and so much challenging. But those are your cards. That's what you've been dealt with. That's what's going to make or break you, and that is what makes you different. Like, when it comes to me being the best version of myself, I am all the support that I have. Okay? I personally cannot depend on people outside of me to support me. Not right now. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't certain people that I'm aware of that want to support me, but I am the type of person that I cannot expect other people to support me and be there for me if I'm not there for myself. Because at that point, it's no longer support and help, but it's dependency. And that's what we don't want. It's an attachment, okay? So instead of beating yourself up about not having all these things, just reflect and realize what you do have. And the more you could be grateful, the more you could be aware of what's working in your favor versus the things that are not, the more you will focus on what you have to create the life that you want. Because it's up to you. If you don't have family, friends, finances, resources, and access, you waiting for something to fall magically out the sky, or you getting a rock and saying, I wish with all my heart, something to the land apart. Let me know if you know where that's from, or are you too young? You'll be waiting forever. I couldn't wait for certain people, places, and things. And once again, this doesn't mean that I'm not grateful and appreciation for the people who are genuine a part of this community to be there. But it's like, these people wouldn't exist. Like, I wouldn't have subscribers. You wouldn't be subscribing if I wasn't doing what I needed to do, because it works both ways. Like, I don't just put all my responsibilities and all my problems onto other people, and vice versa. It has to be mutual. So it's like, when you're walking by faith and not by sight, if you lack confidence, you have to work on your confidence. If you don't have everything figured out, you have to learn how to be patient. You have to learn how to give yourself grace. You have to have moments where you rest. Like I said, I've learned to have moments where I rest, and then I have moments where I work. Like, you have to realize, what can you do within the 24 hours that you have, 48 hours that you have. If you know, like I said, you have 5 days to work and 3 days to yourself, within those 72 hours, what are you doing? What are you not doing? And how often are you doing it? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end off the video. Thank you guys for liking. Of course, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys liking this video and engaging like always. Thank you for always having your notifications on, because I've been viewing my analytics. A lot of you all have been having your notifications on, so Team La Familia, if you know, you know. Thank you for having your notifications on. Thank you for always liking and engaging and watching all the way to the end, as well as following me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below, as well as booking your service in your session at my website for your one-on-one services, as well as an outline if you need to know, like, step by step what to do so you can do it yourself, okay? As well as, when you guys are following me on my social media platforms, which are in the description, head to TikTok and on Instagram. I'm going live for the month of October, answering you guys' questions and elaborating if I didn't answer them already in the comment section. But don't be shy, feel free to engage, and until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.